Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we have another devlog for the new crafting event, and once again it is a very high tier vehicle. So maybe we're only getting 3 vehicles in this crafting event, or maybe we'll get a low ebb one as well. Obviously with the summer event it was kind of different to before, only having 4 vehicles instead of 6. Maybe the crafting events will also have changes to them. This vehicle is the Jaguar E. It is a strike aircraft, and it's going to be rank 6 for France. And it's got a hell of a pointy nose, I'll give it that. Definitely watch out, since this thing will be jousting. The vehicle itself is looking pretty good when it comes to France, and obviously with a bunch of different additions to the French tree recently, you can probably have a bit of fun with this. Unfortunately, it's only an event vehicle though, so not a premium, so therefore that means that you won't be able to get the premium bonuses on it, and you'll have to grind it out by itself stock, which may mean that people start not really enjoying this thing. The standard tech tree Jaguars are pretty nice though, so hopefully this one's good as well. Let's get into the history of this vehicle. As part of the Jaguar project, the Sepacat consortium of the British BAC and the French Breguet Company also developed a 2-seater Jaguar E for training flights, as well as fire missions. The main difference from the single-seat version was the bigger canopy and additional cockpit position for the co-pilot. The first operating model of the Jaguar E was ready in April of 1968, even before the single-seat version. A total of 40 Jaguar E aircraft were ordered, with the first production aircraft taking to the skies in September of 1968. These machines were used as advanced training aircraft for the French Air Force. So looking at this Jaguar E, it looks like it's going to be very, very similar to the Jaguar A, which is already in the tech tree for France. And the Jaguar A as a vehicle is very nice at 10.3. The main issue with it is actually grinding it out, because it starts off with pretty much nothing apart from, of course, the guns. It doesn't get any of its secondary armaments. So that means that you have to unlock its magics to be air-to-air combat effective, which are a rank 4 modification, which is a pain. In order to be combat effective when it comes to the ground stuff, you have to get to rank 3 and get the BGL 1000s, but the BGL 400s are not too bad, and the AS30Ls are pretty decent as well, but it's just a lot of grinding to get to a point where this thing is useful. At least the countermeasures are rank 1, just like a lot of other vehicles, so it makes it a little bit easier. Now, the Jaguar E differs with the fact that it has the second cockpit, and therefore it doesn't have access to the radar warning system, which kind of sucks. The other issue as well is that it can't carry flares. By the way, it's just been confirmed that this thing will get the same countermeasures as the Jaguar A. You can actually see them on the model of the thing, so that will be quite nice. It'll get flares and countermeasures, so it'll be basically the same as it, just won't have the RWR as always. But it does say you may still use a suspended dipole pod, so we'll have to see how that works in game. Hopefully that means that it will be okay. It'll be able to use, some countermeasures of its own for obvious reasons. That would actually make the vehicle a little bit more useful compared to before. Now, everything else about it is very standard, so the actual flight characteristics is going to play exactly like the standard Jaguar, which is it's pretty fast, it's quite nimble, pretty good roll rate, its actual general dynamic design is really good. It can go over Mach 1, of course, and also at low to medium heights still go pretty quick as well. It's perfect for a strike aircraft in the area that it is. The vehicle also has 2 DEFA 553s. I've seen a lot of people not really like DEFAs recently. I don't think they're too bad. Generally in jet combat, as long as you do some damage to your enemy, they are going to lose so much performance, it's going to be easy to finish them off. They have 150 rounds per gun, so 300 rounds in total, and then when it comes to its secondary ordnance, it is pretty impressive. The only issue is you're going to have to grind them all out. So the Jaguar E can carry 11 250 kilo or 8 400 kilo bombs. These will be quite nice, and it can also carry guided weapons as well on top of this. So it has access to the 400 and 1,000 kilo guided bombs, so exactly the same as the ones on the Jaguar A. It gets the AS-30L Nord guided missiles, so the same as the Jaguar A, and also it gets the Magics, the IR missiles. These are the Magic ones though, so they're not all aspect, they are only rear aspect, but as a person who has used all of the wonderful vehicles, the Mirages, the 3C, E, and 5F, the Magics are easily some of the best missiles in-game, if not the best, in the form of the Magic 2. So this vehicle will be fine at killing stuff once it gets that modification unlocked. And if it's the same as the standard Jaguar, you're going to be waiting a long time before you can get access to it. It also gets access to SNEBs, so the rockets, and with the ballistic computer, hopefully that stuff, the ballistic calculator, hopefully that stuff will be very good in ground forces. And it also gets access to the TBA multi-dart, which is 6 armor-piercing kinetic darts capable of effectively hitting any armored vehicle from above, which sounds great, but everyone's going to use the guided bombs, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Tomorrow, it says that they're going to tell us about the most mysterious prize of this autumn, so hopefully we will see a 4th vehicle, so sticking to standard compared to before, because so far we've seen 3 vehicles which are very similar to what we've seen in the tech trees. You know, we've got a battleship, which is just a First World War battleship. We have which is very similar to a German one we already have. We have the CCVL after getting 2 of its brethren in the game, you know, the AGS and the XM8, which are very similar, especially the XM8 and the VFM5 in the British tree, which are incredibly similar to it in general scope and use. And then now we have a Jaguar E, which is a Jaguar A, which is slightly worse. Because it doesn't have the RWR, the countermeasures might be an issue, and then also, well, I suppose it has an extra pilot, so that's a bit of a bonus, but it's a very small bonus compared to what we've seen before. So hopefully the next devlog is something quite unique and interesting, because so far these 3, I would actually see these much more as premiums than actual event vehicles. So apart from maybe the CCVL, like the battleship stinks of a premium, this thing stinks of a premium, but they're too high BR to actually make them premiums without, you know, making it so people complain. And therefore they're relegated to event vehicles, which means that they're going to be hard to grind out, but at least they'll be a little bit better for lineups. Now, one of the interesting things about the Jaguar is being at 10.3, the French actually don't really have a lineup in ground at 10.3. You basically go from 9.3, which is not really a lineup, to 11.0. You have like remnants of things, but pretty much the French meta lineups are 8.3 and then 11.0. So you're going to be running this thing at the highest BR in the game, and it'll still do well, you know, it'll still be fine, but it won't be as combat effective as if you could run it at a BR which, you know, is equivalent to it. And I'm hoping at some point in the future France does kind of bolster that 8.3 to 11.0 region, but at least right now that's not what we see. So hopefully in the future it will be different though. The Jaguar E is a nice plane. It'll have access to some really cool mechanics, but also at the same time it's going to be one of those which I don't think is going to excite too many people, because, well, you can technically just grind a similar one in the tech tree. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman675, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Jerry Prevolt, Megadino King, Orange Tail, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Uncle Bean, Sem Arslan, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick. for supporting the channel.